Well, hello there. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Strikes Our Fancy, the show where three gentlemen just have a little chat about whatever's piquing their interest in a given week, whatever is striking their fancy. This week, it's mysteries of a scientific nature. I'm one of your hosts, Craig. Along with me this week, I have...
I'm still Rob.
I'm Conundrum Caleb.
I'm questing Craig.
What are you questing for?
The truth.
Whoa.
The truth, Caleb. I cannot abide an unsolved case.
But can you handle the truth?
Not if it comes from Jack Nicholson, I don't think.
Where is the truth, Caleb?
What?
I think it's
Where is it?
Isn't it below the stomach? I thought isn't it typically kind of tucked between the stomach and the liver?
Well, I don't know where I heard this, but I believe it's out there.
Oh. Awful.
I loved it. That was great. What the hell are you talking about? The truth is in our stomachs?
Yeah.
What?
Don't you? Well, it's a joke about like listening to your gut.
Oh.
Oh. But also that it's a physical thing in you. Like, Don't you know that you can cut someone open and find the truth?
Yours is just as terrible.
Yep.
So, I have a feeling we are going to solve decades-old mysteries that scientists who've been studying this can't.
Oh, undoubtedly. Mine's more than decades. Mine's from like 500 years ago.
Ooh.
It's a long one.
And we have the answer.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll find it. We'll find it together. That's what we're here for.
Well, let's get right down to it.
Okay.
Give us a little introduction on what you've seen.
All right. So, have you guys ever like been listening to music and like
No.
just never? You asked me to start, Rob, and then you shut me down. No, I don't wanna. You go first.
I'm sorry.
But have you guys ever, when you're listening to music, like you just can't help but move? Like, does that feeling ever come across to you? Like you're just like, you know what? I'm really jiving on this music.
There's certain songs,
Yeah. It just gets your body moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, booty bopping beats.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever been listening to something or like been dancing like so fervently that like you feel like you can't stop?
No. But hold on. Are you bopping your booty, Rob?
Sometimes. I've been known to.
I've been known to bop the booty.
But so no, you've always had you guys have found that you have the capacity to stop dancing once you start. You've never found.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I know where this is going. I've heard this one before.
Have you heard this before?
Yeah.
So about 500 years ago, a little more than, in a town at that time the Holy Roman Empire called Strasbourg, there was an instance that took place over the course of a few months. It kind of ramped up and ramped down, where residents of the city in the summer could not stop moving. The title that was given, or that it has been given throughout history, is the Dancing Plague of 1518. But from the descriptions that have been kept from the records at the time, it really sounds like it was uncontrollable twitching of the muscles.
So it wasn't dancing.
It wasn't dancing. It wasn't like music became a part of it. We'll get there. But initially it wasn't actually dancing. It was something was wrong with people. And they literally would go out into the street and twitch and flail and move and gyrate and like something was wrong with their body and they couldn't stop and they would like pass out in the streets out of exhaustion. The numbers vary depending on source, but like people died. Like this would happen to them for weeks at a time. I've seen anywhere from like 15 to 500 people died from exhaustion over the course of about 3 months. And so that's the mystery, is what the hell was going on with these people? Like, why were they moving? Why were they dancing?
They don't know.
There hasn't been a definitive answer yet. Nothing has been proven. There are some pretty strong theories, in my opinion.
What's the prevailing theory?
Well, before we dive into theories, I want to elaborate a little bit more, if that's all right, on kind of how this progressed in the town. Because it did start with an individual. It started with one woman on a day in July, and she, as I described, she kind of lumbered into the street and just started moving. And her husband tried to like get her back into the house and get her to stop. And she was kind of like unresponsive. She was almost in like a catatonic state. She was moving. And then so first it was like a novelty. People were like, this crazy lady, like, what the hell is she doing? Won't stop dancing in the street. But then about a week later, I think it was 3 or 4 more people started doing it as well. And it got further and further and more people were doing it. And I have a question for you guys. If you were in charge of a town where people were uncontrollably dancing in the street to the point of physical harm to themselves, what would you do about it?
First of all, 1500s, right?
Yep.
So we got to watch out for the miasma. So definitely,
they're blowing it away with their motions.
they're blowing it toward everyone else. So you get someone in their plague doctor mask and have them scoop up the dancers and toss them outside of town.
Okay.
Downwind from town.
Okay. Fair. That's a scientific and logical answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Caleb, what would you do if you were in charge of dozens, if not hundreds, of uncontrollably dancing citizens?
I would be the Catholic father from Footloose and just ban dancing.
You kind of give off a John Lithgow vibe. I can see it.
But then what do you do when they don't stop dancing?
Well, I'm a Catholic father. That's the exorcism at this point.
I thought you'd just be disappointed in that.
And be heavily disappointed.
Well, at the time, the mayor did neither of these things. What the mayor and some of the
typical city government,
right, yeah, what the city government decided to do, rather than address the situation, treat them, possibly address the disease.
One more lane of traffic.
Almost. It was basically, they're like, man, this is really bumming everybody out. We should just like make it kind of a party. And so they built a stage and they hired musicians so that like, rather than like seeing these people just randomly twitching in the street, if you walked by, it looked like it was a festival.
That is crazy.
But who are they trying to convince?
I don't know.
Everyone in town already knows.
Well, and I think there was an element of containment as well. It's like, okay, well, if we find someone in the street doing this, we're just going to take them and guide them over to the stage. So like, it's like, at least they're all in one spot.
All right.
But this is the quarantine.
Exactly.
The quarantine party.
Yeah.
But so they did that, but they did also consult with some doctors. And the prevailing theory at the time was they had hot blood and that they were moving their body to try and cool off.
Yeah,
did they get leached?
They did get bloodletted. They did. There was an element of bloodletting. It obviously didn't help. And yeah, a lot of, like I said, a fair number of people died of stroke, heart attacks, and just exhaustion.
Within one day, or like what was the time frame?
So this ramped up, like I mentioned before. Like it started with this one woman. Within a week, it was about 5 people. In a month, it was hundreds of people.
No, I meant like for one patient. Like, was it like starting dancing and then within the day we're gone?
Oh, no. You would have these symptoms for a few days. I didn't find anything specifically, but I imagine there was an element of how physically well you were when you caught whatever this dancing fever was. Because if you were weak or you had other conditions, I'm sure you were more susceptible to die.
Sure.
So they did bring in some doctors. They attempted to try and address the situation from at least a semi-medical standpoint, but it didn't really help. And there's also a lot of records about just hysteria as well, that like, okay, they tried to cordon it off and make it look like a party, but then more and more people kept getting it. And so then people in the town started to freak out.
Sure. Yeah. Understandably.
Yeah. And so what they did finally end up, the reasoning that they gave at the time and what had some supposedly positive effects on addressing the illness was they blamed it on a curse from a Catholic saint, which I didn't know Catholic saints could curse people. Mm-hmm. But Saint Vitus was a nearby Catholic saint that had like essentially a shrine or like a church dedicated to him. So they ended up shipping off these dancers to that location.
It's your problem now, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, and then the priests there essentially bound them, anointed them with oils, and took care of them to a degree, but basically just tried to get them to mellow out. Like that was all they really did. But it had some success. And so it came to a head around August, and then the whole situation died out within a month of August. This isn't the only place this happened at, but it is the most well-documented case of it happening. But I'm curious, before I dive into what some of the logical reasonings for this are, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, why do you think people would uncontrollably twitch?
I have two potential answers. One, it kind of sounds like some kind of brain parasite or like something that gets into the nervous system and just causes body twitches. I mean, not necessarily a parasite. It could be like a virus or something that specifically affects motor control.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. When I was reading the descriptions of the twitching, it really made me think of the clickers from The Last of Us. That's where my mind went.
But I think there are some documented in modern times parasites or viruses that if they infect a certain part of your body, they will make that part twitch. So it doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility that if you get into an area of the brain that controls arms and legs, that you'd be flailing for a little while and until your body fights off whatever it is.
Sure.
And then, it's the 1500s. There's no water sanitation plant. People are just drinking out of the well. So if something is in there, it's going to affect a bunch of the town.
It's going to get pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
My second possibility is that they just made it up.
Oh,
They just thought it was a fun story. Like, hey, remember that time last summer when everybody was going crazy in the streets?
Not that the people were faking it. You think it didn't happen at all and they just made up a story?
It could be.
That's interesting ploy to get your town on the map.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted Saint Vitellius or whatever his name was. They wanted his blessing, so they made up this story that the priests would have to bless the town for.
Okay.
I am curious, how valid do you think that is? Like, obviously you're saying this, and it is funny, but how valid do you think that is?
Not at all.
Okay.
Well, I do sometimes wonder about is veracity the right word? But the truth of a lot of history. How much of it is actually what happened, and how much of it is either people embellishing what happened, or straight up making shit up because they're bored.
Yeah. Especially the records from that time, like, you don't know how valid those records are.
Yeah.
They didn't really know what they were looking for or what they should write down. So I think, all we have to go off of is the words of some mayor who threw a dance party to cover up some illness,
Who turned it into a festival.
Exactly.
When you're talking about the validity of the story, I'm reminded of the Pied Piper. In the official history of the town of Hamlin starts with, it is 100 years since our children left. And, it's being written after the fact. So could it be either an embellished story or, again, completely made up?
Yeah.
Something about your city.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something to make you notable.
Or was it even all the children, or is it just like 5 and it's been embellished since that point,
Yeah. Was there actually there was a guy who kidnapped some kids, but it wasn't everybody.
Yeah, right.
Come on now.
They weren't dancing away. It was more of a twitching.
But yeah, so Caleb, do you have any thoughts on what you think might be causing?
My first prevailing theory was parasitic, like Rob said. I mean, that just seems to fit the bill.
Yeah.
Again, most of my knowledge comes from The Last of Us, the twitching and stuff like that. So
you don't think demons?
No,
I thought maybe you'd go supernatural with it.
Yeah. What about
Possession?
the Fae folk?
that would actually fit right in. Yeah, I'm changing it. It's
Okay.
fairies. It's always fairies.
If it was fairies, is that a curse or is that like a tribute to the Fae?
It's a curse.
Yeah.
They went straddling all over mushrooms and fairy rings. So they were cursed.
The town tore down a fairy ring to put a road in.
Is there like a compendium of like the worst insults you can give the Fae?
Not that I've seen. Why?
Okay. I'm just
Are
curious.
you, are you going to insult them now on this podcast?
No, it's just more like we keep talking about fairy circles, but I'm just like, what are all the different ways you can insult them? I don't know.
Oh, I thought you meant like name calling.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
No, just the different ways the Fae might be insulted by your
Okay,
actions and what those actions are.
That's the thing, man. They'll be insulted by whatever they want to be insulted by.
It's not really about what you did.
Yeah.
you
They
could
just wanna-
refuse the gift that they give you and they'll still be insulted.
All right. But so the prevailing theory in regards to what causes is essentially the same thing that a lot of people believe caused the Salem witch trials and a lot of that stuff. Ergot, basically rotten grain, rotten flour, got fungus in it, and it essentially has an LSD-like effect on the body. That's the big one. There is also just a lot of speculation around like life was hard, like, and there was a lot going on at that time period in terms of plague, famine, war,
And we need to dance.
yeah, well, or just that maybe the first few people it was a legitimate health issue, but more and more people just joined in because they're like, well, if I just do this, I don't have to deal with anything else.
Yeah. They'll send me away to the Abbey and I can just sit in a room quietly eating rotten mush.
While I get anointed with oils.
Yeah.
So what's the most outlandish theory? Supernatural or not, scientific or not? Like what's
I think possession. I think is that like the city did something to piss off a demon or supposedly a saint. Again, I didn't know saints could curse people.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was against their whole deal. But yeah, pissed off some supernatural entity, the Fae, and it spread through the city.
Don't say the Fae with like disdain. You gotta put some respect on it.
I have shown clearly that I don't respect them, Caleb, because I got no repercussions for coming down hard on them.
You need to put cream out front door tonight, otherwise things are gonna go bad.
Oh yeah. If you engage with them, then aren't they going to just mess with you more because like they know that you're aware of them?
Yeah.
But versus like if I just continue to pretend they don't exist and ignore them, maybe they'll just leave me alone.
They can't hurt you if you don't believe it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the tactic for bullies too.
Which based on
Craig,
a lot of
don't
stories,
say it. Don't say it. I know where you're going with it. Don't say it. Don't call them that.
I don't. Ooh, what? I don't know where you're going. Tell me.
just based on a lot of the stories that I have heard about the Fae, they're just big bullies.
They're coming for you.
But so yes, so this dancing plague of 1518. No, there hasn't yet been a conclusive, definitive reason for why it happened.
So what drew you to this mystery?
I thought it was funny. Like honestly, I was looking at a bunch of different things for today, and I just didn't. Nothing was really jumping out to me.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, dancing plague. That sounds cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird.
What do you think about mass hysteria that results in like a whole town laughing? Because I know there have been a few stories that they kind of mimic that, where it's like one person just has uncontrollable laughter, like they can't stop laughing, and then it spreads kind of throughout the town.
Yeah, I think there's some validity to that because it's like sometimes you hear someone laughing and it's literally infectious. Like you just think the way they laugh or how much they're laughing or how they're handling their laughing fit is just funny.
Yeah.
And so I could see that absolutely just kind of chaining and kind of becoming a cyclical event where it gets worse and worse and worse. But it's also such a hard concept, I think, to kind of wrap my head around because we don't have the same kind of spaces that they did then. Like we didn't hang out with just folks from the town nearly as much as they did. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird to like think that we could be in today's day and age put in a position where something like that would happen.
Right.
I think it's going to be a lot more difficult. But also, maybe just there was nothing else to. Again, I think so many things in history are just because people were bored. Like, and there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You think people just started laughing to laugh?
Could be.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, there might have even been some initial catalyst. I'm sure you guys have been in a situation where somebody is laughing at something because they thought it was funny. And whether you thought it was funny or not, you didn't think it was worth that reaction. But of course, the way they're reacting, just like Craig said, that gets you going. You start laughing, and then you kind of feed off each other for a while.
Yeah.
And then, just imagine that's out in the village square, and then somebody else walks upon you and sees these two assholes just laughing maniacally.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
But that's all I got for the dancing plague. What other mysteries did you guys bring?
My mystery is it's a total mystery. There's no answer. There's no explanation. So I don't know how much I can expand upon this, but it's the
You're doubting our prowess to solve mysteries, Rob? To randomly speculate with
we can definitely speculate, but there's no answer, and there's no immediate hope of an answer. And that is the 1977 WOW signal.
Wow.
Special guest Owen Wilson.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, in 1977, Ohio State University had a radio telescope array called Big Ear. And
Big Ear?
Big Ear.
Oh, Big Ear.
And its purpose was just listening to the skies, and not necessarily listening for extraterrestrials. I think it was just collecting data throughout the night of astronomical phenomenon.
Ambient space noise.
Yeah. And it literally just, I think it just sits flat, and then it just scans as the Earth rotates.
Oh, okay.
So it's scanning the night sky, and, there's the usual low-level emissions. And then there comes in for 72 seconds a signal that was just many times higher than the ambient background noise. So the guy who was reading the signals, and it was days later, because this was back in a time where the telescope just scanned and then printed out just gobs of numbers, and then a doctor or an intern would come in the next day and just scan through it and mark notes in the margins to see what was interesting and worth following up on. And when he saw that, he just circled it and wrote "wow" on the side, which is where it gets its name. Whatever produced that sound was in a very narrow area, because, again, it only came in for 72 seconds until the telescope rotated out of the path of it.
Did they not have a live feed? Was there no one monitor? Well, I suppose even if they were, it's not like they could move the telescope to keep listening to that one spot.
Yeah, I don't think there was a live feed, because it wasn't even noticed until a few days later.
Sure.
So what would they have done? They did try, they used the measurements to see, okay, where was that? And then they tried pointing the telescope and even other telescopes at that same patch of sky, but they never found the signal again, or anything even remotely as powerful as that.
So what was so special about the WOW signal that it stood out?
Well, it was so strong and so tightly focused that it's many times stronger than a typical astronomical phenomenon. Nothing else before or since matches the properties measured during this. So whatever it was a one-time thing. And the reason why it's had so much staying power is because a lot of people think it is extraterrestrial in origin. Well, I mean, literally it is extraterrestrial, but a lot of people think it is alien intelligence.
What do you think?
Well, first, let me put that question to you guys. Do you have any thoughts on what it could be?
If all the signal was that it got stronger and more narrow in its focus, part of me thinks maybe there's a natural phenomena that we just don't know about yet, that we just caught a glimpse of.
Sure.
I'd hesitate to go straight to intelligent life right out the gate, but that would be my. It is probably some natural phenomena that we just don't know about yet. That's me being realistic.
Yeah.
I'm going to chalk it up to somebody bumping the equipment.
That's even more realistic.
Because they're similar case where observing this guy, and there was this weird signal that would pop up every now and again on their recordings. And they were trying to track it down. And it was very, very similar in that they're like, oh, maybe this is someone trying to contact us. So this is a repeating pattern, but it doesn't seem to be on any particular period. But it ended up being the microwave. Anytime someone turned on the microwave, the equipment could detect that's the radiation coming out of it.
Right. Yep.
So I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna, in my mind's eye, I see essentially a seismograph needle. That's how the output of this radio signal was getting documented, and somebody just literally like bumped into the table, and the needle just jumped.
Yeah. That could very well for 72 seconds.
Yes. It was a long bump. or some bored intern just like moving the needle. just like, this will get, I don't know, I'm bored. Somebody will notice this.
I need to stay awake. It's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Somebody brought their CB radio and got as close to the antenna as they could and just Good answers. A lot of people don't think it has a terrestrial source. They think more along Caleb's lines that it is something that we just don't know what it is, because the frequencies at which it was noticed, for one, there's no typical like consumer grade radio equipment that will produce signals at that range. It is worldwide at this time, at least, and probably today still. Worldwide, this is a protected range exclusively for astronomical use.
Oh, interesting.
So you would have to build a radio capable of transmitting on that, because it's a useless part of spectrum. Nobody else is going to be listening to it.
Spies will use it.
Yeah, could be. Although, if you're a spy, you probably don't want to transmit on a band that people are actively listening to and will try to hunt down the source of a sound. And also, there was no discernible modulation contribute to it being a signal based on our current understanding of radio technology.
Okay.
So most of the scientific community agrees that it probably didn't come from Earth. For a while, there was a movement that was saying it could have been, an undetected piece of space debris that was reflecting something back, but that's largely been dismissed by now.
Interesting. Man, what a wild ride to like individuals in that community. They obviously have worked very hard and trained a lot and have done a lot of study to be in their fields. They're very knowledgeable. But like to basically reach a point where in your profession, you're speculating essentially like we are here. Like, well, I think it might be this and I think it might be that. Yeah. And you're full of shit. And
I mean, it's a little bit more than that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You got to be able to back it up.
Right.
But
we
still,
can just say whatever the hell we want.
Exactly. But there's still an element of that. Like there's still like at least at the beginning, there's got to be like kind of a spitball phase.
Right.
You're like, oh, what could it be?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the prevailing theory then?
Well, again, it's a scientific community. So nobody has anything that they can say like, well, this is probably what it is, because they've never seen anything else like it. So a lot of scientists who worked on it, they just say, man, we can't rule anything out. We can't say what it is. If you ask them, like if you press them, well, do you think it was aliens? They'll probably say no. But they'd also probably say
that's what they have to say to keep their jobs.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if there's any other phenomenon that at least maybe not give off that specific signal, but occur in that bandwidth, essentially.
Well, I would imagine that there are plenty, because they were specifically measuring that bandwidth.
So obviously, you bring it up because it's a signal that as a human species we've never seen before, and it feels like aliens, right?
I mean, I brought it up because it's just a well-known story that is completely unexplained. Like there's not even a lot of people lean toward this or lean toward that. Like there's just nothing about it.
So if it were to turn out to be anything but aliens, would we as a species be interested in it?
I mean, I guess it depends on what it was. You know, if it was like a new form of quasar, probably, yeah. I think absolutely there would be people interested in that.
Because it furthers our understanding of the universe, Caleb.
For all we know, it could have been the sound or the light ray of dark matter annihilating, or, you know, who knows what the hell it was.
You never told us what you thought.
What I think it is? I don't know, man.
Weird.
Yeah,
It's
weird.
weird.
Maybe it's Cthulhu. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, it's the old ones.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Or I kind of agree with Craig. Somebody's bopping their booty against the.
I mean, that very well could be.
That's that's kind of my default when something only happens once.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, what was happening with the equipment in that moment?
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that I'm sure they have really dug into that and been like, what are the different ways this machine could have failed or misread something or given a false signal? So I would assume that they've done that, but
yeah. I guess I didn't read anything specifically to that, but yeah, I would imagine that they did an investigation and just came away with, well, maybe, but we don't know what it was.
Still a question mark.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for bringing that to us, Rob. I hope we can find out something more about it, or like maybe I'll keep on top of it a little bit more and see if there's I wonder, is it something they're still like actively investigating or scanning that part of the sky?
I don't know if anyone's still measuring that part of the spectrum, but the satellite that found it was decommissioned in 1998.
So it will just remain a mystery.
What are they hiding? They decommissioned it? What are they hiding?
Yeah, they decommissioned it 30 years after it happened. Suspicious.
Suspicious.
But so Caleb, what have you got for us?
My mystery is something kind of mundane, but as soon as I read about it, I was like, that is interesting to me because it is mundane.
I have full confidence that what is interesting to you will be interesting to us and our listener.
Maybe I should put like quotes around mundane because like we do it every day.
Yeah, turn it into fun-dane,
Exactly.
Caleb.
Mundane. But we do it every day as a people, as a species. And I think if you were to ask the layman or anybody, they'd be like, oh, it happens for this reason.
Oh, I know exactly what the mystery is.
Is it?
Where do your socks go?
Oh,
The gremlins in the dryer, Rob. Sleep. There is no definitive answer. There are hardcore suggestions. And I only know that because I was like, this article makes it seem like they don't know. They have to know, you know? And there's a lot of good things. Like it clears out the brain's memories. Like it helps you, it does something with protons. But everything I've read says they're suggestions.
Right. We know why we sleep, but we don't know why our bodies evolved to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we just do that stuff while we're awake?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. We do it all the time. We do it every day, but there is no definitive reason on why our body needs it so much. Exactly. Yeah. And I just found that interesting that, you know, this is something that everybody participates in. Why, as a people, do we fall into this state of unconsciousness where we are effectively unsafe?
why do we turn off for 8 hours?
Yeah. And how is that evolutionarily advantageous for us?
So I have heard, to even say it's a theory is giving it too much credit. I've heard an idea that it's interesting to me. There's nothing scientific about it. Like, you can't look into this and prove it. It's just like a thing that's like, oh, that's cool to think about. And it's, maybe the question isn't why do we sleep? Maybe the question is, why do we wake? Because if you think about while we're asleep, and this is the animal kingdom in general, while the animal kingdom is asleep, it actually functions more like everything else on the planet. Trees, bacteria, other plants, I don't
Dogs.
know, fungus. And it's the waking that's the weird thing. And that's only done because it's an incredibly energy depleting thing to do, but it lets you get out into the world and reproduce and eat, find more resources, and have a chance to now move away from an area that's no longer suited to you.
So we're made to sleep.
Yeah.
We're forced to wake up.
Yeah. Sleeping is the natural state.
Yeah.
And being awake is the oddity.
So if our bodies could photosynthesize from the sun, we would just never wake up.
Yeah. I mean, you probably wouldn't like dream or anything because one, what would you dream about? And two, you know, your brain wouldn't have the pattern recognition. I mean, you just wouldn't have a brain.
We'd just be fleshy plants.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unfortunate that we're all bound by these terrestrial meat sacks. Hate it.
So evolution has fucked us again, forcing us to wake up.
Yep.
Well, and so, I was going to say, evolutionary, it makes sense that, the species that did not wake up as much or did not go out and do as much during the day, they did not thrive.
Mhm.
You know, it's during the day that, we actively do things and procreate.
Mm.
This is tangentially related, but what's the longest both of you have gone without sleeping?
Probably about, I did like a 3-day
3
once. Yeah.
days.
It was after Mountain Dew Livewire came out.
It was a gaming session.
Yeah, it was.
Wow, 3 days. That's a lot longer than I would have thought. How about you, Caleb?
I don't think it was a full 72 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I want to know like end to end, like without falling asleep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know there were 2 nights and 3 separate day periods.
It's a blur of orange caffeine.
It really is, yeah.
Nothing as egregious as 72 hours. Probably around 24,
Yeah.
if that. Yeah, maybe a little more. But yeah.
I think I can say with confidence that I've done 40.
Mhm.
Like I did a solid day and a half. Like was up all one day, was up that night, and was up for a full nother day doing stuff. And it sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
How old were you at that point?
probably 16,
Okay.
16, 17. It was high school when I didn't have to give a shit.
Yeah, mine was like 13.
Oh, wow.
When our bodies could take it.
Yeah. I'm sure it didn't have any long lasting effects.
Your eyes twitching, Rob.
On the flip side of that coin, what's like the longest you guys have slept? Or like not even like consistently, but just sort of like, no, I am still in bed or I am still in like sleep mode, even though my body might be telling me to get up.
Oh, man. I don't know. That's hard because I don't think I've ever stayed in bed for more than maybe 10 hours. But like I've definitely gotten out of bed, like had something to eat and then thought, I'm not doing anything. Like I'm just going to go lay down again and then like fall asleep for another hour or two.
Sure. Caleb?
So I've slept probably around 24-ish hours before, but that was because of something else.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
very cryptic.
You don't have to share if you don't want to.
No. I think it wouldn't be beneficial for me if I shared.
Okay.
Okay.
That
is
is-
the Fae.
Yeah. He was traveling the Fey realm. That's how
Yeah,
they do
Exactly.
it.
Actually, I do want to change my answer because like obviously I've been sick, bedridden,
Sure.
and slept a very long time just recovering. I don't think that counts. Well, I mean, it's an answer to the question, but like it wasn't a choice that I made.
Sure.
It was,
Mhm.
I'm not doing anything else. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way.
Sure. I think I've gone a solid like 13, 14 hours,
Mhm.
like with no other circumstances. I just happened to be really tired and nothing going on.
Yeah.
So just slept through. But I asked this selfishly because I have a follow-up question. Does your brain get weird after you've been sleeping for so long? Because this is something I've experienced that like I can tell that like I need to get up because my dreams get weird and they get more vivid. And it's just like I can tell in the moment I am oversleeping.
No, that doesn't happen to me.
No?
As a person who is perpetually sleep deprived, I've never had too much sleep.
Give you all the sleep.
Yeah.
If I sleep for more than 12 hours, I get a headache.
Yeah.
Like I just have a migraine at the end of it.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Which again, it's weird because you think like your brain's been resting. So why would it hurt?
Well, like at work, I'm allowed an hour break, you know, and I've always found if I'm in the middle of my shift and I get an hour, I'll go to the couch and I'll close my eyes for a bit. And it's always a toss up on if that 1 hour nap is going to make me more tired or bring me back to life.
Yep. It's a flip of the coin.
And
It's the worst.
It's probably about 80-20, 20%. It's going to make me feel better. 80% I just
Oh,
always-
really? Oh, that sucks. But you still try.
I gamble every night.
Right.
Hunting that 20%.
Yeah.
Well, because it just feels so bad when it's like 20 minutes before your break ends and you're just dragging ass like, oh my God, I should have napped. I am definitely a fan of the lunchtime nap. I suggest anybody who has an hour-long lunch break, take that. Just try it out.
There was a while where the boss was cracking down on it.
Why? It's your break.
Exactly.
For one, it's your break. For two, that can really, it's going to make you more alert for your job.
That's what I said.
Caleb's face was full of it, like righteous fury. Like,
but to combat that, my supervisor
did
was
they put spikes in the couch?
no. Oh my God.
No more sleeping.
No more sleeping. But what she told me to do was like, go to the break room. Just tell me you're playing on your phone. So that was the code phrase. I'm going to go play on my phone. And
it sounds so much more sexual in nature.
Yeah.
Like, just the word play in there. Like,
see, you're making it sexual, Craig.
Do you think maybe the indignation was that you were taking up the whole couch, like nobody else could be on the couch?
If I was on break, nobody else is on break.
right, yeah. It's not like multiple people can go at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have no idea. Maybe it is sleeping on company time, but I'm like, it's my time.
Mhm.
It's my hour. It's my
Yeah.
God-given union hour.
Right. And I suppose
God had nothing to do with that, Caleb. That was your union.
It was just the union.
I suppose you're probably encouraged not to leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, what are you gonna do?
Well, that was the thing too. We could leave, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, you can do it at home. Like, why would I waste 15 minutes to go home and get less?
Prime napping time.
Exactly.
Right.
And if anything, if something happens, you can wake me up, and I'm there.
Right? Yeah.
So
That's your manager's dumb. Like that's honestly it's just flat on its face stupid.
Yeah.
this is no longer scientific mysteries. This is Caleb's boss. Sucks.
Right.
Like,
scientifically, why do you think your boss is like
petty micromanaging bullshit.
Mhm.
They're all about the bottom line.
Yeah. Shouldn't have bought a couch then.
Yes. Yes.
Because you would have just gone to sleep in your car.
I would have gone to sleep in the fucking chair.
Yeah.
That I can understand.
There was my old boss didn't give a fuck, and he was in the office with a bunch of other people one day, and it was like 3 a.m. because I work nights, and everybody's talking, and I have my hands clasped on my stomach, and I just go to sleep right in front of everybody. It was 3 a.m, and they woke me up like 30 minutes later. Were you there for that?
I might have been. I've seen you do that. I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about the same time, but I have seen you.
Yeah.
It is very delicate how you kind of position yourself and just your head leans forward just a little bit with your eyes closed. And it's enough to make people wonder, like, is he just like being really introspective right now? Does he just need a little time? Like, is he just really listening intently to the conversation?
Just get those glasses that have eyes painted on them.
Yeah.
No one will ever know.
Yeah. People like to think I'm deep and introspective. I'm just tired all the time.
Do you guys dream a lot when you sleep?
Or
Or do you remember your dreams? I guess supposedly that's the better way to ask that.
I mean, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What he said.
Okay. Because like I don't. I almost never remember my dreams.
But we do dream, right? Like
Yeah.
that is, yeah.
That's my understanding. Is that like if you don't dream, like you're gonna die because something's wrong with your brain.
What?
It's like how your brain processes memories.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like throughout or like handles its downtime is just it fires and it makes dreams. But if it's not doing that, then you got a problem.
Craig, what is the giant hand with the mouth that's trying to eat me? What's going on there?
That's me. That is that is your brain's interpretation of me. I'm coming for you. Rob is obviously the shark.
Why am I the shark?
I don't know. Ask Caleb. He's the one who dreamed it.
Caleb, I demand to be something more interesting. Make me like a doorknob or something.
I'll talk to the subconscious tonight. We'll see what happens. So I'm glad we solved all these mysteries of the universe for the worldly scientists.
Woo, go us.
Yeah.
Go us. What was it? Possession, somebody booty bopping against the table.
Yep.
Something about a hand with a mouth. I don't know.
We sleep because it's fun. That's
There it
why.
is.
We sleep because like it's nice.
It's the most fun you can have without spending money.
Yep.
Yeah.
You say it kind of as a joke, but there's some truth to that. Like we take mind altering chemicals to experience things that aren't actually there, or to change kind of our viewpoint and how we deal with sensory input. But that's exactly what sleep does.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I want to give an honorable mention. When we were floating this idea among us, multiple time guest Danny threw out that maybe we could talk about the big bloop, which actually is solved.
Yeah, I did see it when I was digging into things, and I was thinking about it as you were talking about the wow signal. But do you want to share what the bloop was?
It sounds like you might have looked into it more.
So very similar to the big ear story with the radio signal. But except it happened in the ocean rather than it was space. It happened on Earth. Some listening stations across the ocean. I can't remember if it was Atlantic or Pacific.
I think it was Pacific. I think it was off the coast of Argentina or Chile.
Okay, but like heard this weird like. Like it's like this weird like it was way deeper than that in terms of frequency, but like it was this weird ascending tone, and it ended with a kind of a peace on it. Went.
And for our listeners at home, this is what it sounded like.
I think I did a better job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Both of you looked at me like you expected me to make the noise for the thing. I was like, should I do it?
I just wanted to see if you were going to say anything.
Oh, no.
It turned out to be, ice, I think, falling off of the Antarctic into the water. Don't know how that translates into that weird ascending tone, but.
It just does.
Yeah.
Which awesome though that like a long-standing mystery has been solved. Like it's cool that we can answer those questions legitimately, rather than just random podcasters speculating.
That's just what they want you to believe.
Exactly. That one was Cthulhu, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, that one was aliens.
Oh, okay.
Well, listener, that's what we've got. Thank you again for letting us strike your fancy.
It's always fun. We appreciate you tuning in. Gives us a reason to keep coming back.
If you have any thoughts about the mysteries that we've shared, any answers, or you know something about any of these, please give us a shout. You can reach us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, maybe some other places, at Strikes Our Fancy. If you want to leave an audio message, you can go down to the description on Spotify and click some links. I don't know what they look like. Just do it.
I challenge you, listener, to give us your impression of the bloop. Like, please, send that in, and we'll play them, and we'll maybe rank them.
Yeah.
And the best one gets a special prize.
Yep.
Well, I'm Radio Rob. With me, as always,
Truth Seeker Craig.
And Sleepy Caleb.
Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks.